Last Sunday, we began our mountain climbing adventure here at church by hearing about the pilgrims way back in ancient times who used to travel up that mountain together to the top where they could worship God, gathering together in Jerusalem. And we heard how as they made their way up that mountain, they would sing songs of encouragement to each other. These songs that are now known as the Psalms, that's with a P, Psalms of Ascent in our Psalter, in our Psalms, in our Bible. Last Sunday we spoke especially about the scripture that calls us to lead me to the rock that is higher than I. That was a prayer of the pilgrims. Lead me to that rock, up to God. Our spiritual journeys are a lot like mountain climbing. And we can go on this journey no matter what our age is or what physical condition we are in, these spiritual journeys up this holy mountain. It's a quest we do our entire life, step by step, hoping to draw closer to God. Earlier in the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 3, we hear, "Many people shall come and say, 'Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord.'" You can almost hear the pilgrims gathering and saying to each other, "Come on, let's go. Let's begin this quest up the mountain." And so here we are today. Perhaps we're at a base camp at the foot of the mountain. We're persuaded, we're here. Yes, let's begin the climb. But some of us may be feeling, I'm guessing, a little anxious, a little nervous about what this climb may entail. We know mountain climbing is a great adventure, but it's not always a picnic. Sometimes we end up in a tough place along the way of this spiritual journey up the mountain. We are not the first. Psalm 120 says, "In my distress I cry to the Lord, that he may answer me." Further on in Isaiah, the passage I read earlier, God assures us that God is with us every step of the way. God holds us in his hand and will help us. We will not need to be afraid. We know sometimes scary things happen on the mountain climb. And so it's important as we gather together at this base camp that we make sure we have everything we need before we begin this climb. And today, to help us with visuals as we prepare for the spiritual climb, I want to invite Mike Willett to come join me up front. He's brought some of his equipment and is going to explain it to us how he uses it. And I'm going to ask lots of questions because I don't know much about the equipment. You got your microphone on?
So most of what I brought today is from winter hiking. So winter hikes, winter climbs. And my kind of number one piece of gear is this. Whoops.
Cool.
Trekking poles.
So you put your hand through the loop?
Hands go through the loop.
Like skiing? Okay.
Yep. They're long on the way up, or shorter on the way up, longer on the way down.
Oh, that's so smart.
Yep.
Uh-oh, how do you close it? Now I've broken it. Sorry, Mike.
There we go. There we go. These are great, especially in the winter when the streams aren't frozen over, crossing streams that you'd rather not step into or get soaked. So, great piece of gear.
So these are poles.
These are trekking poles.
Trekking poles.
Yep.
When you're trekking, okay.
So in the winter, one of the first things that happens, actually in the fall, one of the first things that happens is things get really slippery, and a lot of people use
Crampons?
what are called microspikes. But when things get really icy, this is really what you want to have on your feet. They're kind of scary looking, but
Wow.
Yeah,
You
so
see
these are full crampons, and basically what these do, you can see they've got points for keeping your feet from sliding. If it gets really steep, there's points in the front, so you can climb. You can basically go up.
You can dig your toe in.
Yep. Yep. These are really good when it gets steep. If it gets really like hard water ice, this is what you want on your feet.
And it can be different lengths, it looks like.
Yep. These can go on plastic boots. I put them on my regular hiking boots, and they stay on the top of my pack because these get used all the time in the winter.
Do you ever sharpen the tips?
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
They're not very sharp right now.
They do get dull. You can go over mixed terrain. You can go over ice and rock, and so they do. You can feel them. They're not real. They don't want to be too sharp, but they need to be sharp enough to bite the ice. So
cool.
yeah, these are full crampons, and they're definitely a must-have in your pack.
And do you put them on right at the beginning, or do you go partway up and then put them on?
It depends. Depends if it's how steep it is. If it starts to get, because like micro spikes will work on most hikes. They'll work on most low-angle stuff. But when you get on really steep stuff and it gets really icy, that's where you don't want your feet slipping.
So the microspikes must be little skinny
They're
needle
small.
things.
They're tiny. They're like a
Okay.
1/4 inch. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
These are like an inch.
Yeah, these will do the trick. Yep.
Cool.
So the other thing, the next thing that happens is as it gets steeper, the poles don't really work so much. So I've got this little scary looking piece of gear here.
It does look scary.
Yeah, it's got a lot of points on it. So that is a ice axe. Comes with a leash.
Huh.
The reason for the leash is when it gets really steep, you don't want to lose your axe.
So you could be climbing with that just hanging off your wrist.
Well, most of the times you're either carrying it like this and you're going up a steep section, or you're going up an even steeper section and you're anchoring yourself in. And I can show you how that works, because that's for putting protection in.
It's for what?
Putting protection in. I'll show you what that means in a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so far you're by yourself, right? I'm protecting myself. I've got crampons on my feet. I've got an axe on. I can stick this into the snow. If I slip, my axe will keep me from going down the slope.
So that wouldn't work in fluffy snow. It would
No.
have to be harder snow.
No, this is for really hard packed snow, frozen snow, ice.
Wow.
yeah,
Is it sharp?
It's very sharp. Yeah.
Should I do this?
Oh, you can. Yeah. You won't lose anything.
Just checking.
And you notice the rule of thumb is you keep it pointing away from you.
That's a good idea.
Good idea. Yep. Keep the points out. Keep the points out. You don't want that to stick you anywhere. So here, I'll let you. Pretty scary looking thing.
It's fairly heavy too.
Yep. Usually people go with 2.
Wait.
If it's not too steep, you can just take
Oh,
one
one
up.
for each hand?
Yep. I'm not an ice climber, but ice climbers will go up with 2 of those.
Wow. They're
Yeah.
heavy. I don't think I'd want to carry that very far.
There's a lot of junk you got to carry for the winter. So the next thing is so like I said so far, what you're doing is you're protecting yourself, and if you get onto a really, really steep section, now we'll be on a rope, right?
Okay.
So I'm connected to you, and you'll protect me as I'm coming up, meaning if I fall, you'll catch me. So.
You're very trusting.
Well, yeah, you pick your climbing partners in the winter pretty carefully. So what this is a harness, and basically I'm not going to put it on, but it basically goes around. It goes around you, goes around your legs. Your legs go through there.
Yep.
And then you'll see there's a carabiner here, right? So. So now I'm connected to you.
With the rope.
Right. So I've got the end of the rope here. Other end's connected to you.
If I'm above you and you fall, what's to keep me from coming down with
that's
you?
a really good question. So
Just checking.
there's two things. One is when you go up, I have protection in, so if you fall, I'll catch you.
All right.
And when I come up, you have protection in, so. Oops. I'll let you take a guess at what that is.
Well, it's not. I don't think I'm going to jam that in anywhere.
Well, if you
I'm going to hook this to something.
Yep.
If there's something handy on the mountain I can hook this to, but I'm having my doubts about that.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
So what it is,
Oh, no, fair. You were hiding something.
well, the points, they're pointy.
I'm not touching those.
So what this is an ice screw. If you look at it, it's got threads on it. It's got teeth on it like a big screw. And so basically is, if I go up in front of you, I need to create an anchor so that I've got something to put the rope through, right?
So you're going to anchor this into rock?
No, ice.
Oh, into ice.
Yeah.
And are you just going to turn it?
Yeah. See how this?
Oh, look at that.
So this will turn the screw. So basically, you just bore it in, and now the carabiner's hanging there, and I clip the rope in through there. Rope's hanging off that.
Yeah.
And
How long would it take you to screw that in all the way?
I don't know, probably 30 seconds or so. It's not
Okay,
too, it's
so I'm
not
not
too far.
not
Yeah.
waiting too long.
And so the rope comes through there, back to me, to my harness through that, which is a belay device. So what that does is the rope goes through there.
Just straight through, or does it wrap around?
It goes through the chute here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so the rope goes through that and it comes through here. What that does is it presses down, it creates friction. So if you fall, the rope's going through there, I've got the rope in my hand.
Yep.
I break the rope and stop you, right? Because you're anchored on that.
Right. So the rope here is not going to keep sliding through, it's going to stop.
Correct.
So that it'll get taut.
Yeah. So as you're climbing, I'm giving you slack, and when you stop, right, now you're
Yep.
pulling me up. So that's
And am I talking back and forth with you as I?
Yep.
So if I'm up ahead
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
screwing in
you-
the ice thing, I'm going to say don't move until I got this thing in there.
There's a bunch of commands about on belay on, climbing. So I tell you what I'm doing, you acknowledge it. So there's no misunderstanding that,
Okay.
right, you're not protecting me or I'm not. So yeah.
So one of us is always secure at all times. If you're in a precarious situation, I'm not going to do anything until you're.
Or you might say, look, if it's kind of sketchy, you might say, watch me, meaning I might fall here. So tighten up. I'd rather not fall 20 feet. I'm fine falling 5 feet, but 20 feet I'd rather not fall.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
I think that's a good plan. Okay.
So that one of the things when you go up to like a Huntington Ravine, you'll see a bunch of guys walking around. They're all making these clanky noises because they got all this junk on their
belt.
on their harnesses. You know.
And is that your name inside?
No.
No.
Nope. No.
Okay.
This is just this is kind of a year-round harness, but pretty basic. The other thing I want to show you is this. Give you a guess at that.
Well, is it for drywall? It says it's a snow picket.
Yeah, so this is what's called a snow picket. So when you can't put it in an ice screw, a lot of times you're on terrain where it's like really steep snow.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't take a screw. A screw will just pop right out. It's like putting a nail in drywall, right?
So am I going to put?
Yeah. So if this is the slope like that, you would put that.
Just angling out a little
Right.
bit.
So now that force is pulling down on the picket like that.
So you think that's going to be long enough to hold it securely in
Oh yeah.
whatever I
oh,
stuck
yeah.
it
You'd be
into?
surprised if that goes into firm snow. That'll hold a lot.
Like me and you?
Yeah.
And somebody else
Oh, yeah.
behind us?
Yeah, these are actually super strong because you
just-
look at it because it's got fins on it, right? So
Yeah.
so it's not gonna
Just slide right
and the
out?
key is right on a steep slope. You don't want to put it in like this. You want to put it in like that, so the direction of
But
force.
it might eventually start going like this.
It'd be pretty
with the
hard.
weight?
You'd have to put a ton of weight on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that one.
And again, it's the same thing. You clip the rope in, and that's what keeps you safe on the mountain.
Wow. Wow.
And generally, you don't fall in the winter. You try not to. This is most of the stuff you carry is just in case. If you do slip. I've never had any hard falls mountain winter climbing. So.
Is that because the snow is soft to land on?
No, you just this
Or
is
because you're taking the precautions?
This is just in case. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Huntington Ravine, but it's pretty steep. If you slip, your next stop is probably, depending on where you are, many hundreds of feet down. So,
Oof.
yeah. Anyway, picket.
Picket.
And the last thing is, and this is probably good for most sports too.
Ah,
Very fashionable piece of it.
it's very attractive.
Yep. You could try it on.
Maybe I could if I knew how to do it.
There you go.
Is it like a bike helmet?
Yep. Yeah.
How do I look? How does my hair look?
Very.
Should I wear it forward like a bike helmet, or does it matter?
You want it to protect the front of your head, because if you're in a really steep area, the risk is rock and ice coming down and bonking you on the head.
So it's better to be going like this than to be looking up as I go up.
Yeah, you want it to protect your forehead, and pretty much your forehead and back. So.
Wow. Seems like I've heard a rumor there's a nickname for this, for a helmet.
I call it a bucket, but.
I heard of the brain bucket.
Yeah. Yeah, I wear one cycling on a bike. I wear it on my motorcycle. So, I mean, the thing you don't want to do is get popped in the head. And, yeah.
No, I don't. You're right.
That's pretty much it. I mean, the big difference is you go from protecting yourself to trusting your partner, protecting your partner and so forth. So it's.
So how many people would you have with you if you were going up a mountain? What's the minimum number of people?
Well, you can do it by yourself, but again, if you get into a really tough section, if you slip and if you don't have protection, and it's pretty high risk. Minimum's 2 for a really safe climb.
Makes sense. Yep. Thank you, Mike.
That's it. I'll just leave this here for now.
Okay. Well, I've learned a lot. Thank you.
Yep, you bet.
So it strikes me that there are a lot of components in this preparation that Mike does when he goes really hiking, and for the rest of us on our spiritual hikes. So we need equipment, right? And I would say our Bible is our guide in that sense. We also need to be safe, other people around us. So as Christians, we feel very strongly, where 2 or more are gathered, there Jesus is with us. So we don't go hiking. We do go hiking by ourselves, and there are parts of our faith that we do alone. But as Christians, we climb this mountain together with other people. We need other people with us to keep us safe on our way up and to support us as we head up, and so that we can support each other. So if anybody falls, we're there to help each other along, and trusting in God to show us the way. And I'm struck by the use of commands with mountain climbing. So I might move forward, and Mike behind me isn't going to do anything until he knows I've gotten to a secure place. And then I tell him I'm all set, and then he moves forward. So we balance each other out on this journey of faith, making sure that each of us is secure along the way, and if we're in a sort of a wobbly place, nobody else does anything that would cause harm until we move forward. That's what I've learned today. What a joy it is that we have all of us together on this spiritual mountain climb, traveling up this mountain, being aware of the dangers of sliding backward, backsliding as we used to call it in the old days, but also encouraging each other all the way up. And we do it together. We do it together. Jesus calls to us, follow me. Jesus says, rope yourself to one another and to me, and let's prepare to ascend this mountain. There's more to come. Next week, we'll be talking about scenic overlooks. Today, let's harness each other together and start climbing that mountain. Amen.